So previously we talked about probability sampling techniques, जिसके अंदर हमने simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, stratified random sampling और cluster sampling techniques के बारे में पढ़ा. So now let's have a look on the second type, major type of sampling methods, जो कि है non-probability sampling techniques. ये भी further divided into multiple sampling techniques. So let's have a look at non-probability sampling क्या होती है. So non-probability sampling method are such samples that are created when the respondents are chosen because they are easily accessible, or the researcher has some justification for believing they are representative of the population. Now see this, like a non-probabilistic sample kya hai? It is the opposite of probabilistic sample, right? That means in a non-probabilistic sample, there is a chance that some of your target population, entities of your target population have a zero chance कि वो आपके sample के अंदर include हो सके, right? So see this, you as a researcher normally will choose only those respondents जो कि easily accessible हो. So think about a scenario जहाँ पर you're trying to find out कि software developers की certain factors या certain आदात in pair programming क्या है, what are certain things that they do in pair programming. So in a non-probabilistic sampling method आप उन्हीं को approach करेंगे जो कि easily available है, and that means which people? Maybe the people you already know, the people you are acquainted with. That means कि उनका chance of becoming your sample तो हो गया greater compared to those जो कि आप नहीं जानते. Their chance of becoming your sample is almost zero because you don't know them, so you won't, or they are not easily accessible to you, so you won't be making them part of your sample, right? So that means कि representativeness of a target population in a non-probabilistic sampling technique जो है ना उसका risk ज़्यादा हो जाता है. So it is dangerous to draw any strong inferences from a sample जो कि probabilistically sampling techniques से draw किया हो. And so much so that some of the researchers even say that any statistical analysis that you do or a quantitative findings that you find out outcomes आपकी आए, it is not possible to draw statistical inferences from such samples, right? It's not appropriate कि आप non-probabilistic sampling की technique के through जो survey conduct हुआ है उसकी findings को आप जो है in a true sense true मान सकें या उनको generalize कर सकें. But nevertheless, there are some scenarios where a researcher has no option but to use one of the non-probabilistic sampling method, or one of the techniques available in a non-probabilistic type of sampling methods. और वो कब है? There are 3 reasons कि एक researcher, despite knowing कि he or she might run the risk of survey being non-representative of their target population, उनमें से एक ये है कि number one is the target population is hard to identify. So yes, there might be some phenomena that you're interested in as a researcher, you're interested in जिसकी target population आपको पता ही नहीं है. अगर आपको target population नहीं पता, that means you cannot have the sampling frame. आपको target population ही नहीं पता, right? An example could be maybe you want कि आपको hackers की characteristics के बारे में पता चल जाए. How do they hack? Maybe what are their properties? What are their attributes? उनके बारे में पता चले. But can you actually know who the hackers are? I mean, like, there's no such way where you can find out, or you can have a sampling frame, a list of hackers जो कि पाकिस्तान में. So this is a population, or this is a phenomena जिसकी जो target population है, that is not easy to get by. So a researcher, you may have to resort to a non-probabilistic sampling technique, क्योंकि आपके पास कोई ऐसा sampling frame ही नहीं है जहाँ पे आप probabilistic अपनी sampling technique, or either it is simple random sampling or a stratified random sampling लगा सकें. The second reason that researcher resort to a non-probabilistic sampling technique despite its limitation is that कि target population तो मालूम है, लेकिन it is very specific and its availability, a researcher has difficulties finding those resources, finding that target population and finding the respondents in that target population. So क्या example हो सकती है? Maybe you're trying to survey senior executives और वो senior executives किन company के of large software houses जो कि that employ more than 5,000 software engineers. Imagine करें such high profile people. First of all, there aren't many companies जो कि 5,000 software engineers employ करेंगी. Even if there are, see this, you might have the sampling frame of all the companies available जो कि इस criteria को fulfill करती हो, but you will run into trouble कि आपके पास the senior executives who run such companies will not give you the time or will not respond to your request. वो आपको survey के लिए time नहीं देंगे, आपका survey जो है ना fill करके नहीं देंगे. So in such a scenario, although आपके पास sampling frame भी मौजूद है, your target population, लेकिन उनकी availability एक तो वो बहुत specific है, उनकी availability for carrying out the survey नहीं है. And the third reason that a researcher might resort to a non-probabilistic sampling technique is that अगर वो pilot study कर रहा है. See, this pilot study is not the survey itself. It's just a pre-testing of your survey instrument and your overall strategy of survey. तो over there ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप randomly जो है ना अपने जब pilot testing कर रहे हैं तो randomly आप उसमें ना selection करें. What do you do? जो भी आपकी whatever respondents are available easily to you, you just approach them and you do your pilot testing and get the results that you want through that. Make your changes as a result of that pilot test. So non-probability जो sampling techniques हैं, they also are of 5 major types. जिसके अंदर है convenience sampling, self-selection non-probabilistic sampling technique, snowballing non-probability sampling technique, purposive sampling, and quota sampling. Purposive is further divided. We'll be talking about that. So let's have a look at convenience and non-probabilistic sampling technique and self-selection sampling technique. So convenience, as the name shows, convenience sampling involves obtaining responses from those people who are available या फिर they are willing to take part, right? तो convenience means कि मेरे लिए क्या आसानी है कि मैं उन लोगों को जो मेरे लिए आसान है, जो मेरे easily reachable है, for me as a researcher मैं उनको approach करूँगी and they will become the respondent of my questionnaire. I'll take the example कि मैंने cyberbullying का phenomena investigate करना है, right? And my research objective is to gauge cyberbullying victimization in Pakistan, right? So in this case, in a non-probabilistic convenience sampling, जितनी भी university पाकिस्तान में है और जो I can easily access या जहाँ पे मेरे contacts हैं या जो मेरी reach में है, I contact them, their students, and they respond to me. So this is a non-probabilistic sample जो कि draw किया है via convenience sampling technique. Like the main problem with this approach is that people who are willing to participate may differ in important ways from those who are not willing. So see this non-representative sample again here. Okay, there are people. There are respondents in there are entities in my target population which have a zero chance of becoming a respondent in my questionnaire. यानी कि वो लोग जिनको मैं नहीं जानती या जो easily available नहीं है, they have a zero chance कि मेरे survey का part बन सके, and hence it has biases in it, or might be they have different different way of answering those questions जो कि मैं पूछ रही हूँ. And another example could be to understand this point is that maybe you're trying to survey about your university, और आप feedback ले रहे हो, आप course का कोई feedback ले रहे हो from your students, right? तो convenience sampling है जो मेरे पास जो मेरे लिए readily available है. So most probably non representativeness इसमें कैसे हो जाएगी कि people who have more complaint, they might be more likely to become part of my survey. Yeah, they will be more likely to provide feedback on my survey about my course, right? As compared to जो ज़्यादा satisfied है. And as a result, जो inferences मैं इससे draw कर रही हूँ वो यही है कि majority of the people are saying are complaining. हालांकि मैंने in this case what I haven't done is मैंने representative sample ही draw नहीं किया. So those people who had something good to say, who didn't complain, or who really liked the course, they did not become part of my sample. Alright, so the second non-probabilistic sampling method is self-selection sampling. As the name shows, कि जो individuals या जो organizations and whatever my unit of analysis is, they themselves become a part of your survey. यानी कि वो खुद अपनी accord के ऊपर आते हैं to become a part of that survey. So this sampling is useful when we want to allow units or cases where the individual or organization to choose to take part in the research on their own accord. तो खुद से वो take part करना चाहते हैं तो then self-selection method can be used. So how it happens कि being a researcher, you can put a questionnaire online and and invite anybody, और उनमें से जो organization में खुद से जो take part करना चाहते हैं, they can become part of your sample here. The key component is that research subject volunteer to take part in the research on their own accord, as compared to the convenience sampling जहाँ पर researcher खुद approach करता है अपने target population के. Over here in self-selection sampling, it's the other way around. Okay, the researcher does not approach the individuals, rather the individual they volunteer, okay, they have to become the part of the research and give answer to your survey. तो इधर भी non representative है. क्यों? क्योंकि जो करना, depending upon your objectives, it will decide कि कौन लोग हैं जो volunteer करना चाहेंगे और कौन से लोग हैं जो volunteer नहीं करना चाहेंगे. So based on that, the people who do not volunteer, they are the non-representative part of your target population.